Welcome to Michael Potts F1, everything Formula One, but from a photographer's point of view. Points mean prizes. This is the first vlog in a series that I'm calling Formula One School, and it's an opportunity to deep dive into aspects of Formula One and explore why things are the way they are. I'm recording this on the eve of the 2022 Formula One Grand Prix in Japan. It's quite timely, as this weekend Max will have an opportunity to clinch the world title. So let's look at how he can achieve that, and also the history of points in the Formula One Championship. Let's start by looking at how points are currently awarded in Formula One. In each race, the first 10 drivers score points. The winner receives 25 points, the second place finisher 18 points, with 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2 and 1 points being for positions 3 to 10 respectively. In addition, a single point is awarded to the driver with the fastest lap, but only if that driver finishes in the top 10. In the last race in Singapore, George Russell got the fastest lap, but he finished outside the top 10, so nobody got a point. Then, this year, we have 3 sprint races. 2 have already been completed, one was in Imola and the other one was in Austria. There's one still to come in Brazil. The winner of the sprint race gets 8 points, second 7, with 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 being awarded for positions 3 to 8. So there you go. Those are the opportunities a driver will have to score points during a race weekend. We have 2 championships in Formula One. There's the Drivers', which is the most prestigious, and it's the one that all of the drivers want to win. Then there's the Constructors' Championship, which is the team's championship, and that's the most lucrative one. That's where all the prize money for the teams gets decided. The point system is the same for both championships, the only difference being Constructors adds the points of both of their drivers together. Currently, Red Bull on 576 points are leading Ferrari on 439 by 137 points. Max might be able to secure the Drivers' Championship in Japan, but his team, Red Bull, are quite a long way from being able to secure that for the Constructors' Championship. We have 5 races left before the end of the year. That means there's 125 points available for race wins. There's 5 additional points for drivers securing the fastest lap in each of those races, and there's 8 points available for the winner of the sprint race in Brazil. That gives us a total of 138 points available. Currently, Max is on 341 points. This comes from 11 victories, 1 second place, 1 third place, and 2 7th places. He has 5 fastest laps, and he's won both of the sprint races. His nearest rival is Charles Leclerc on 237 points. This is from 3 wins, 4 second places, and 1 third place. A pair of 4th places, 1 5th place, and 3 6th places. He has 3 fastest laps to his name and came second in both of the sprint races. Sergio Perez is 2 points behind Charles and is the only other driver that has a mathematical chance of winning the title. Max is 104 points clear of Charles and 106 points clear of Sergio Perez. After Japan, if Max is 112 points ahead of both of those, he'll win the title. This means that if Max wins the race in Suzuka and gets fastest lap, regardless of where the other 2 drivers finish, he'll be world champion. Points in Formula One haven't always been structured this way. There have been a lot of variations over the years. So let's go all the way back. The series we know as Formula One originally dated back to the 1920s. Then it was known as the European Championship of Grand Prix Motor Racing. A new set of rules, or formula, were devised in 1946. The first race running this new formula of rules was the 1946 Turin Grand Prix, won by Achille Varzi in an Alfa Romeo. He completed the 60-lap, 270-kilometer course in 2 hours and 35 minutes. The field largely consisted of Alfa Romeos and Maseratis, most of which were privately run. It wasn't until 1950 that this set of rules was turned into a championship. At this stage, there was only a drivers' competition, no constructors. The 1950 championship featured 7 races, starting in Silverstone in the UK and including Monaco, the Indianapolis 500, a Swiss Grand Prix, Spa in Belgium, a French Grand Prix in Reims, and finishing an Italian Grand Prix in Monza. There were also 17 non-championship races that year where points were not awarded. One of those 17 races was at Zandvoort, which is a track we still use in current Formula One. This was the first championship, and it was the first time points had been awarded. Only the first 5 drivers scored points, with 8 points being awarded for first, then 6 points for second place, 4 points for third, 3 points for fourth, and 2 points for fifth. There was an additional point for the fastest lap, and only a driver's 4 best results were counted. The championship was won at the last race of the season, in Monza in Italy. It was won by Italian Giuseppe Farina. He beat Juan Manuel Fangio by 3 points. Farina died tragically in 1966 in a road traffic accident. He was on his way to the French Grand Prix. Here he was going to do some stunt driving work for a movie coming out called Grand Prix. In 1968, an additional championship, the Constructors Championship, was added. In 1960, an additional point for 6th place was added, but the point for fastest lap was removed. In 1960, the winning Constructors points were reduced to 8, compared to the winning driver who stayed at 9. That experiment was abandoned the following season, and from then until 1990, the points have remained the same. The only change coming from the number of races which were counted each season, as the calendar grew year on year. Counting only a specific subset of races was designed so that drivers wouldn't be penalised for any mechanical issues or accidents that they might have had, or in the early years of Formula One for races missed. This did have an impact on some of the championships, most notably in 1988, where Alain Prost had scored 105 points to Ayrton Senna's 94. In that year, only the 11 best results counted, meaning Senna won the championship 90 points to 87. From 1991 to 2002, first place was increased from 9 points to 10 points, and all the results were counted. In 2003, the point scoring positions were increased from the top 6 to the top 8, with 10 points being awarded for the win, 8 points for second place, and then 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for all the other places. The aim was to increase the competition for points lower down the field. In 2010, Formula One added 3 new teams, and to increase the incentive for points, they were awarded for the top 10 finishers. 25 for the winner, 18 for second, 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, and 1. This is the basis for the point system we have today. In 2014, they experimented with awarding double points for the final race. Thankfully, this was a one-off, and it didn't impact the final result of the championships. Fans disapproved of this, as it felt very artificial. And that season's finale was held in Abu Dhabi, which was a track notoriously difficult to overtake. It was felt that it would give the winner of that race an unfair advantage. In 2019, we had the reintroduction of the point for the fastest lap. In 2021, sprint races were introduced, with the top 3 finishers scoring points. 3 points for first, 2 for second, and 1 for third. This has been revised in 2022, with the top 8 finishers all scoring points. Now, if a race doesn't run its full distance, not all the points are awarded. In the current system, which has been revised this year in the wake of last year's farcical Belgium Grand Prix, if a race has less than 2 laps of running, no points are awarded. If between 2 laps and 25% race distance have been completed, only the top 5 score points. The first getting 6 points, then 4, 3, 2, 1. Between 25 and 50% completed, 9 drivers will score, the first getting 13, and then 10, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Between 50 and 75%, the 10 fastest drivers score a point, and there's a point awarded for the fastest lap. 19 for first, 14 for second, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. If more than 75% of the race is completed, full points will be awarded. In the past, this rule was a lot less specific. Generally speaking, if less than 75% of the race had been run, half points were awarded. This had a huge impact on the 1984 championship, where Niki Lauda beat Alain Prost by half a point. The Frenchman scored 4.5 points for winning the incompleted Monaco Grand Prix in torrential rain. The race was abandoned before 75% had been completed, which meant half points were awarded. Prost was quite instrumental in having the race called off, partly for safety reasons, and partly because he was getting chased down by young Brazilian sensation Ayrton Senna. Senna actually overtook Prost on track, but conveniently for the McLaren driver, they counted the race end a few laps earlier, meaning Prost was ahead and he got the victory. That victory actually cost Prost the title that year. Had he raced a few more laps, accepted second place, he would have gained 6 points rather than 4.5, and that would have been more than enough to have clinched the title from Lauda. A race needs to be completed within 2 hours, unless there's been a red flag in an extreme event, and in which case the time is extended to 3 hours, as was the case this year in the Monaco Grand Prix. The driver with the most points is Lewis Hamilton on 4,335.5. Michael Schumacher is 8th on the list with 1,566, and he's the first driver on the list not to race the bulk of his career under the new point system. Alain Prost is 15th on the list with 768.5, with Senna on 18th with 610. Juan Manuel Fangio is the best placed driver from the first championship, 46 with 245 points. Our first champion is 77th with 115.33. just below Paul di Resta. Ferrari have scored more points than any other team with 9,151, followed by Mercedes, Red Bull, McLaren and Williams. Thank you for watching my deep dive into the Formula One points system. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please head over to my Twitter account to vote on topics you'd like to hear me cover in the next series. When do you think Max is going to clinch this year's title? And what do you think of the current point scoring system? Is it fair? Do you think that maybe there should be a point awarded for the fastest qualifier? Please do let me know in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this, please do like and subscribe. It really helps me to grow the channel. Thank you so much, and until the next race, goodbye.